Hello dear students, my name is Gaurav Bansal, teacher for Indian Economy at GS Core. We've already met so many times for different topics, different types of themes, and this is one of our ongoing series in which we are going to do the third discussion. So this is where we discuss how can you use the previous year question for your preparation, how do you fit them in your study plan, and this is something that we call approach to mains. And question to concept. Typically, we look at the syllabus, we read the syllabus, and then we study those topics, and then we prepare for question. But can we reverse engineer it? Can we look at a question, reverse engineer it? कि question कहाँ से पूछा गया? From where this question got asked? Then we look at the syllabus part, concept part, and then we then think again, okay, that was asked in past, this is the theme, this is an area from where the question is asked. Today, if from the same area examiner wants to ask what themes are relevant, what topics are relevant, this is exactly what we are doing in this series. Today the topic is very interesting, something which is very relevant today, and something which is very interesting as well. So today our topic is about international trade, and particularly in the context of Donald Trump increasing protectionism and tariffs in USA. This is again a very relevant topic, although it always remains relevant, but Donald Trump has made it the most important topic today. The topic is challenges to the free trade or globalization. Now let's continue. So from this topic, we saw a question in 2018. Again, the same time when Donald Trump became president last time. So how would the recent phenomena of protectionism and currency manipulation in the world trade affect the macroeconomic stability of India? So if you remember, by the way, in 2018, Donald Trump raised the issue of GSP, Generalized System of Preferences. So Donald Trump was trying to target China, but he could not target China alone, because as per WTO rules, you cannot target a country specifically. You cannot make a law that is discriminatory for a specific country. So instead of targeting just China, he targeted number of different countries so that it doesn't appear that he is specifically targeting China. So nonetheless, in that process, he talked about increasing the tariffs for the Indian and the Chinese imports into USA, and he did that at that time. So India and China enjoyed the status of developing country, and because of that, our exports to America had minimal, or some cases negligible or zero tariffs, whereas we had very heavy tariff on American products. So he also raised the issue of Harley Davidson motorcycles, that when Harley Davidson exports its motorcycle to India, those motorcycles are taxed at roughly 150%, 170%, whereas when Indian motorcycles are exported to USA, USA has hardly 2%, 3% duty on them. This was the specific example he used at that time. Nonetheless, the question is about two things here. One thing is protectionism, the other is currency manipulation. Currency manipulation was not done by USA. USA did protection, and currency manipulation was something that China was doing. So what is happening here, that USA tried to raise a shield, tried to increase its protection. But protection from whom? Who was attacking USA? So it is China who was not just attacking USA. China was attacking the entire global system with artificially cheap products. And that was possible because of currency manipulation of China. So the topic starts with currency manipulation. That China, first of all, was trying to harm other countries and was trying to take advantage of the international free trade system, and to game that system, to master that system without any harm. What China did was currency manipulation. Now, currency manipulation is not a jurisdiction of WTO. WTO doesn't look into currency manipulation. WTO looks into tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers, how much import duty you have, how much delay are there at the customs, can you ban a product, these kind of things WTO looks into. Now China didn't do anything wrong or suspicious in these areas. But what China did instead was currency manipulation. And through that, they were able to bring the prices of their products significantly down. And hence, China was able to export very, very cheap products to other countries. Now, that was affecting the domestic manufacturing of all those other countries, and in that process USA was also badly affected, and Donald Trump raised this issue. It is the context of this question, and the topic overall is, first of all, there is a global trading system, there is a free trade. What are the threats to that global trade? For example, this currency manipulation by China is one of them. And when one influential and big country will try to take advantage of a system and will try to harm all others, others will also react, and that will destroy the free trade system. And this is precisely what has happened. So in this broader theme, if we want to interpret the theme of this question, the theme is, first of all, what is free trade system, what are the challenges to the free trade system, and what happens when there is no free trade, when every country will take a step back and they will opt for protectionism. This is the broader theme, and today we are actually observing it. Okay, so very interesting in today's context. Now, first of all, the underlying concept. Okay, as I told you, the challenges to the international trading system are the free trade. Okay, then basically manipulation to the international trade, and then eventually barriers to the international trade. So, different way to say the same thing. Okay, challenges. So first of all, what is international trade and what are the various challenges to it? Okay, challenges are always there for which every country makes policy. Fair enough. Challenges are there and we should always have challenges. Challenges are not bad thing. But problem is where when somebody tries to manipulate. So manipulation is then the thing which corrupts the system. And when system gets corrupted, then everybody will try to protect himself or themselves. And that is where the barriers come into picture. So there is a sequence to it. So this is the broader theme, free trade and challenges to it. How free trade benefit everyone. And if somebody will try to take all those benefits just for themselves and try to harm all others, that is when the system is compromised. So that is the broader interpretation of this concept. In this, you have to understand the overall topic of international trade. Apart from that, you need to understand the international currency flow, the BOP, the exchange rate. It covers up a big chunk of your external sector of the economy. Now, this topic is not at all mentioned in the syllabus. There is no mention of this. So, when question get asked on this topic, you cannot really trace them anywhere in the syllabus. Okay. Now, however, you have to prepare for it because it's not the only question that has come from this area. On international trade, there has been various question or exchange rate, etc. So it is from PYQ that you actually have to interpret all that you have to prepare. And one big area is international trade. Okay. So this is the broader theme. I hope you got the idea that what you need to prepare. What is international trading system? How it benefits the countries. So, for example, that is where you study the international trade theory. Okay, this is not going to be asked in examination, but this is what you need to overall understand. So, in PT, in fact, they can ask you about the benefits of the free trade as well. So, for example, Adam Smith says that when you opt for free trade, or he said basically, when you opt for free trade, then it leads to increase in efficiency and that leads to growth. Because when there is free trade, everybody will have a bigger global market rather than their own domestic market. Now, think about it. If Microsoft would have been selling their Windows software only in USA, their market would be very small. Or Google would have been servicing only to the USA, their market would have been very small. But since they supply and service to the entire global market, they have much bigger revenues, and as a result, because they serve to a bigger market, they make much more money and a big part of that money they put into research, they put into their employees, they put into their system. Now, because there is so much money one company is making, and it is actually putting a lot of it into research, etc., we can see that they are able to produce a lot of new things, a lot of free things, a lot of positive things that Google has brought to the world. If there would have been small companies in different countries, they would not have been able to take technology ahead so fast, perhaps. So that is one of the thing here. It is not that other companies are not allowed. There are challenges to Google, and there will always be challenges to Google. Okay, for example, OpenAI is a big challenge, big threat to Google nowadays. Anyways, the point here is that because of free trade, we have so much today, because a company is not just work developing something or producing something for its own domestic market. It is developing that from global market, and that is how there is more efficiency, there is more production, there are better things. So that's the free trade advantage as per Adam Smith. Okay, then similarly, because of free movement of people, free movement of products, people everywhere in the world also get the best products, cheaper products, etc. So that is also an advantage. Now, because of China, so many electronics are cheaply available world over. Otherwise, they would not have been. That is the positive side of the thing. If China would not have been manipulating, even then, their exports would have been relatively cheaper than USA. So you have to understand that when you are beginning to study the international trade, then these are the benefits. But what if somebody is trying to corner all those benefits, that I will take all the advantage, I will export to everyone, but I will not import too much from everywhere, I will import very less. That will create losses for everyone else. That is where manipulation in international trade comes into picture, and that is what traditionally was known as mercantilism. And then, in how many ways other countries can protect themselves, that is protectionism or barriers to trade. That is a proper topic where you study the tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers, for example anti-dumping duties, import duties. There are various WTO agreements under which you can have quantitative restrictions. So all of that you have to study here. So that is the broader theme. Now let us look at the, just 1 minute please. Yep. So this is our answer to that previous year question. This is not a detailed answer, just the key points here. So first of all, why there was a protectionism issue and the currency manipulation, and why it could be linked to India. So first of all, when we talk about India's macroeconomic stability and the overall global protectionism and currency manipulation, now that affected India in two major ways. Currency manipulation is done at China's level. So China is exporting its product very cheaply everywhere in the world. Unfortunately, because of WTO rules, India was not even able to increase the tariff too much on Chinese products, which were destroying our domestic market. So every country was observing this very silently, and they were tied to WTO agreements. So this was creating a very unfortunate picture for every country. So on the one hand, India was badly affected by the cheaper Chinese exports, which are imports for India. India was also very negatively affected by the American protectionism and the European protectionism, under which America started to cut its import. Now, on the one hand, China is exporting cheaply to us, and on the other side, we, whatever we have been exporting to other countries, even that is cut by them. So one of the problem is that we have to deal with cheaper imports. At least we were able to sell to other parts of world, but even they are cutting our imports. So that way both are compromised. Our exports are also going to reduce. Meanwhile, we cannot cut our imports. So India was affected very badly from both sides because of this. So that is what we had to capture here. So first of all, export vulnerability means if there is protectionism, then it will negatively affect India's export, and that way we will be in a very compromised, in very weaker position. So American tariffs, they affected India significantly, particularly when they removed GSP. On the other hand, because world over there was protectionism, things became expensive. That also led to inflation. Because of protectionism, the flow of things break. For example, there is a component that is produced by USA. When China is manufacturing, it needs that component which is made in USA. So China will import it from USA, but now because there is lot of tariff due to protectionism, China is importing them at a higher price, and then when China is exporting it back in the international market, then price increases further. That is the problem that everyone is going to face here. So international trading system, if it is free, it keep things very cheap. But if it is not free, if it is compromised, if it is affected by those things, then it creates import cost inflation. Your imports become very expensive, including oil, etc. So that is another challenge for India's macroeconomy. Then there is trade deficit expansion. Our exports will reduce. Meanwhile, imports can't reduce. So trade deficit problem, which is further BOP problem. So that is the problem. Then together, if there are imported inflation and there is trade deficit, it will also decrease the value of rupee. So these are the challenges for India's macroeconomy. And today also we face those challenges. Okay. So today, at least we are in a better of position relatively because Trump has much higher tariff on China compared to India. He is not treating India and China equally. Perhaps in this situation, India may be at advantage because when Americans import from India, it is relatively still much cheaper compared to when they import something from China. So in today's context, things can change a bit. So I hope you got the idea what are the relevant points from this particular question. Probable question. So in today's context, there can be various perspectives from this question can be there. The question that I have prepared is in the context of rising global protectionism, which of course is rising because of the tariff barriers and strategic currency intervention, which China does from time to time. Critically evaluate the implication on India's economic growth, trade balance, and monetary policy. So, to be more specific, I have asked very directed question on economic growth. Will it reduce India's economic growth? Will it affect our trade balance? Will it affect our monetary policy? Okay. Then suggest measures to safeguard India's macroeconomic stability in this evolving trade environment. So this is a pertinent question right now that how do we maintain our macroeconomic stability in the current environment? So I really hope that many of you will try to answer this question. Put your answer in comments. We will pin the best answer and we will also reply to your answer with detailed feedback as well. I will individually check your questions and I will keep checking the video again and again for certain time, hoping that many more students are commenting on the video. So I hope the discussion overall has helped you to understand the broader topic, the underlying theme, and how to prepare for examination. How do you interpret what you need to prepare from PYQ? For example, this topic is not even in the syllabus. So how do you interpret? PYQ can help you a lot. So we'll be meeting you very soon with the fourth part of this series and we'll be bringing you another very relevant and interesting topic. I hope more and more of you will participate and answer the question or answer for this question in the comments. Thank you.